It's time for our science chat now, and this week's theme is adaptation. In the past week, there have been major breakthroughs in our understanding of antibiotic resistance, the secrets of drought-resistant trees, and how to control the spread of malaria.
AUT Applied Ecology Institute Director Steve Pointing joins us now in the studio. Hi there, Steve.
Good morning.
Now, firstly, looking at antibiotics and the resistance to a lot of interest out there, a lot of people falling sick at this time of year and are worried about antibiotics. What are the latest studies showing about this resistance to antibiotics?
Well, there's a major advance just published this week, Mike. Essentially in the top scientific journal in the world, Nature, a study released by US researchers showing that essentially the mechanism for antibiotic resistance that we thought was fairly well established is much more diverse than we previously imagined. So traditionally we've viewed antibiotic resistance as a function of the bacteria essentially developing an ability to degrade or detoxify an antibiotic. But instead what this research has shown is that some crafty bacteria are able now to just simply shut down and go to sleep during an antibiotic dose. And what's more worrying is that as the dose regimes are changed for these bacteria, so say from a 3-hour to an 8-hour dose, the bacteria are able to respond with almost like a biological timer to overcome that and to shut down in synchrony with the antibiotic doses.
Okay, so how does this crafty bacteria, in your words, evolve?
Well, it evolves through a process of mutation. So essentially all changes are random in mutation of any organism, and those that are advantageous get passed on. So because bacteria reproduce so quickly, they have many more mutations, and that's why they're able to respond so quickly to anything, antibiotic resistance being one of them.
Now, looking at another adaptation story, drought-resistant trees, and sugar is apparently is a key to this.
Yeah, story of sugar being good for you for once. So this is a great story, not least because it involves Kiwi researchers from AUT University here in New Zealand. But this study has shown really what it's done is prove a long-standing conundrum in plant science, that some plants are more resistant to drought than others, and it's long been assumed that that's because drought-resistant plants are able to accumulate sugars in their cells, but it's never been proven until now. And what this study did was manipulated the sugar levels in a whole range of tree seedlings and then monitored how effectively they could withstand drought. And what this showed conclusively was that higher sugar levels correspond with higher tolerance to drought.
So what will this mean for the likes of farmers and forecasters then?
Well, hopefully it will lead to be a game changer. It will lead to great advances, because what we can now do, of course, with this knowledge is start to select, or plant breeders can start to select for plants that have high sugar levels, and hopefully therefore crops that are more drought resistant.
Now, mosquitoes and malaria, what are the latest scientific findings on how to combat malaria?
Well, malaria, as you know, it's caused by a tiny parasite called Plasmodium, which is transmitted via the Anopheles mosquito. So if you go to the tropics, you get bitten by mosquitoes, there's a chance of being infected. But once this Plasmodium is inside your body, it starts its life cycle and produces something called gametocytes. These are essentially reproductive cells inside your own body. And what they do is they fundamentally change the scent of the human body. And what this does is it attracts mosquitoes to come and bite individuals that already have malaria. And the reason for this is that the Plasmodium can only complete its life cycle if it's reintroduced back to a mosquito. So it's actually an adaptation by the parasite to make sure that it completes its life cycle.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.